Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a whole stack of sources, really zeroing in on artificial intelligence and just how fast everything is moving.
It really feels like it's accelerating, doesn't it?
It does. So think of this as, well, your guide to the biggest AI shifts happening right now. We're pulling from news around, June 13th, 2025?
That's right. And we've really tried to sift through all the noise, to find the developments that genuinely matter.
Yeah.
There's just so much out there.
Exactly. So our mission here is to help you make sense of it all. These sources, they cover a lot, huge investments, big tech strategies, brand new models and features popping up.
And where AI is actually being used, in the real world. Plus all the legal and ethical stuff that inevitably comes along with it.
For sure. It's a lot to unpack, but yeah, let's dive in.
These are the things really shaping the tech you're probably already using every day.
Okay, so first things first. Let's talk money. Because, wow, the amount of cash flowing into AI right now, according to these sources, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing is definitely the word. The investment scale is just unprecedented.
Yeah.
And a lot of the focus is on OpenAI. We're seeing reports of a massive, maybe even record-breaking $40 billion investment round.
$40 billion, just one round.
Yeah, led by SoftBank and a group of global investors. And this single round is apparently pushing OpenAI's valuation to something like $260 billion.
$260 billion, that number, it's hard to even grasp.
It really is, puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
And that might not be all. The sources also mentioned OpenAI is talking with Middle Eastern funds, Saudi Arabia's PIF, the UAE's Mawardi Group.
For more money.
Potentially another $40 billion. So if both those reported fundraisings pan out, you're looking at maybe $80 billion in new capital just for OpenAI. It shows this huge global appetite for investing in AI right now.
Okay, so if they're raising that much, they must be planning something absolutely enormous. Is this tied to that Stargate project we've heard whispers about?
It almost certainly is. I mean, building the kind of massive compute infrastructure needed for, the next generation of AI, possibly pushing towards AGI, artificial general intelligence.
Right, the sort of human-level AI capability.
Exactly. That takes just incredible amounts of capital.
Right.
So this funding directly fuels those really ambitious large-scale projects.
And it's not just OpenAI playing this high-stakes game, is it? Meta's making some really big bets, too.
Oh, absolutely. Meta's move on scale AI is huge. They're reportedly buying a 49% stake for almost $15 billion.
$15 billion for just under half the company. Wow.
And it's deeply strategic. Scale AI, they're all about high-quality data labeling, stuff that's absolutely essential for training advanced AI models. So for Meta, if they're serious about AGI, they need to lock down that data pipeline. This investment, bringing Scale's founder into a leadership role, it really signals that focus.
Okay, so we're talking these giant numbers, billions flowing around. Why should you, listening at home, actually care about this? It sounds like high finance.
Well, yeah, but it's not just abstract finance news. This kind of investment, it's the rocket fuel for AI development. It sets the pace. It lets companies build the giant infrastructure, develop the more powerful models. It shows the deep belief in AI's power isn't just talk. It's backed by serious money that shapes the tools you'll be using, probably sooner than you think.
Okay, that makes sense. So speaking of building bigger and faster, where's all that money actually going?
I mean, a lot must be going into the basic plumbing, right? The chips, the data centers.
Definitely. That's where things get really interesting, actually. The competition in the hardware layer is seriously heating up. You've got major players like AMD stepping up, launching their next-gen MI400 AI chips.
And those got a lot of attention right away.
They did. From OpenAI, Meta, Microsoft.
Yeah.
The big players took notice. It signals AMD is a really serious contender now.
Trying to chip away at Nvidia's dominance, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly. AMD's new Instinct MI350 GPUs, those are the graphics cards, essentially, that do the heavy lifting for AI. They're promising something like 4 times the compute power of the previous generation. That's a huge leap.
4 times, okay.
Yeah, and that directly challenges NVIDIA. More competition there is good news, right? Pushes performance, might eventually help with costs.
And it's not just the chips, but how they're being used, the infrastructure.
Right. Look at the partnership between Oracle and Nvidia. They're integrating, over 160 AI tools into Oracle Cloud. The idea is to make it easier for businesses to access top-tier AI hardware and build their own models.
That's more accessible.
Yeah, exactly. Without needing your own giant server farm.
There was another partnership in the sources that really caught my eye, though, because it touches on something else huge, energy.
Ah, yeah, the Amazon and RWE deal, the German utility company. It's pretty unique.
What's the deal there?
Basically, they're swapping. Amazon gives RWE cloud and AI solutions, and RWE gives Amazon a steady supply of renewable power.
That's fascinating.
It is, and it really underscores the massive energy footprint of these AI models. Companies are having to get creative about finding sustainable power for their data centers. It's a huge factor.
So all these details about chips and partnerships and energy, why should you care about the sort of engine room stuff?
Because this is the engine room. Faster chips, better infrastructure. It means AI models get bigger, smarter, faster, cheaper to run. That improvement trickles all the way down to the features you use, the speed of the AI response you get, and that energy piece. That's critical for figuring out how sustainable all this growth actually is.
Got it. Okay, let's shift from the infrastructure to the really cool part. What can these AIs actually do now? The sources were just packed with new models, new features.
Oh, yeah. It's like a constant wave of innovation,
Yeah.
pushing the limits of what AI can understand, create, help you with. OpenAI, for example, they're already talking about GPT-5.
Already. Wow.
Yep. The plan seems to be a unified multimodal model. So that can handle text, images, maybe audio and video all together. Should simplify things, boost performance. And they specifically mentioned improved code reasoning. That's big for developers.
And they're releasing more specialized stuff too, right?
They rolled out the O3 Pro model for their paid users, Pro, Team, Enterprise. This one's focused on enhancing logical reasoning, which is super useful for, say, science or education. Plus, better coding tools again.
Image generation keeps getting better and better too.
Definitely. We saw Stability AI's Stable Diffusion 3.5. It's optimized for Nvidia RTX GPUs, promising twice the speed and using like 40% less memory. Big deal for creators.
And Google.
Google's pushing hard with Imagen 4. They're highlighting clearer details, much better handling of text within images, which has always been tricky for AI, and it can generate images up to 2K resolution.
Google's Gemini suite seems to be getting constant updates as well.
Relentlessly. There was leaked info about upcoming Gemini 2.5 Flashlight and Pro, hinting at maybe more efficient or specialized versions. But the big news for many users is that Gemini Live is now free.
What does Gemini Live do again?
It lets the AI see through your phone's camera or screen so you can get real-time visual help, like point your phone at something and ask questions or get help with something on your screen. Very intuitive.
Okay, that sounds useful.
And they're embedding Gemini deeper, too, like putting it into Google Docs on Android for summarizing, highlighting, that sort of thing.
Meanwhile, Meta seems really focused on the creative side, especially video.
Yeah, they mentioned a couple of interesting tools. One is a selfie-to-video AI, takes your selfie and puts you into basically any video scene. And an AI video editor that lets you change backgrounds or even outfits in a video just using text prompts. Clearly aimed at the short-form video explosion, competing with TikTok and others.
Microsoft's Copilot is expanding its capabilities too.
Yep, Copilot Vision is rolling out more widely in the U.S. It lets the AI assistant see and help with stuff across two different apps on your screen at the same time. A multitasking help, basically.
And it's not just the giants. There's cool stuff happening in open source.
Always important. The sources mentioned Hugging Face's Small VLA. It's a robotics model, but the impressive part is it can run on a standard laptop, makes robotics development way more accessible.
Okay.
And ParkCrafter, this collaboration involving Peking University, ByteDance,
Yeah.
it turns a 2D image into a 3D printable model almost instantly. Really neat.
So all these new tools, features, models.
Yeah.
Why does this flurry of activity matter to you, the listener?
Because this is where AI stops being theoretical and starts changing how you do things, how you create, how you work, how you find information, maybe even how software gets made.
Yeah.
These faster, more capable models are becoming practical tools, weaving themselves into, well, more and more parts of daily life.
Right. So moving beyond the models themselves, where are we actually seeing AI make a difference? Like in specific industries? The sources had a lot on this.
Yeah, AI's footprint is definitely getting bigger, moving into lots of different sectors, which brings both promise and, challenges. Take healthcare. The Joint Commission and CHAI are working on global guidelines for using AI safely. Focus on patient safety, ethics, trying to get ahead of potential problems.
And there are some potentially game-changing tools emerging.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like the Deepin AI tool. It could apparently diagnose blood cancer in seconds with expert-level accuracy. They're planning clinical implementation soon. That could be huge for speeding up diagnoses.
Wow.
And on the transparency side, the American Medical Association, AMA, is pushing for policies on explainable AI. Basically, doctors should disclose when AI tools are being used. Build trust.
But even with tools like that, humans are still essential, right?
Absolutely. The sources stress this, especially in areas like pregnancy care in India. AI is being adopted, but experts say human oversight is still crucial. It's more about augmenting doctors, not replacing them, at least for now.
Okay. And software development. That seems like another area being totally transformed.
Oh, massively. Gartner found that using Gen AI can potentially cut app development time in half. That's a huge productivity boost.
Half the time? That's incredible.
It is. And companies like Apple seem to be leaning into this with rumors of on-device AI coding assistance in Xcode, maybe something called Swift Assist, to help developers code faster. It's even changing hiring. Canva apparently now requires candidates to use AI assistants like Copilot during interviews. It's about how you use the tools now.
Interesting shift.
And you see partnerships like Databricks using Google's Gemini AI to boost their analytics and machine learning platforms.
What about media and publishing?
Seeing changes there too. Taboola's deeper dive tool uses AI to generate answers from a publisher's own content, trying to keep users on site longer. Apple announced AI-powered App Store tags to help people find apps better. And then there's Meta's plan.
The ad creation one.
Yeah, aiming for fully AI-powered ad creation by 2026. Promises hyper-personalization, but raises big questions about creative jobs in advertising.
Definitely. And AI is reaching into other sectors too.
All over. Amazon is using AI heavily in logistics, optimizing delivery routes, predicting demand, making warehouses more efficient, faster deliveries. In Nigeria, Vazel is using AI for digitizing fashion, creating virtual storefronts. We saw teens win the Earth Prize with an AI app for environmental education called EcoMind Academy.
That's cool.
Yeah. And AI is shaking up hiring in India, focusing more on quality of hire, using AI analysis. But there are warnings too, like one source noting that small and medium businesses might be overconfident about cybersecurity because they aren't adopting AI security tools as fast as the threats are evolving.
Okay, so looking at all these areas, healthcare, coding, media, retail, education, why does it matter where AI is showing up?
Because this isn't science fiction anymore. This is AI moving out of the lab and into the real world. It's changing jobs, creating tools, improving services you use every day, and presenting new challenges. From your doctor's office to how you shop online, its footprint is just getting wider and deeper.
Right. But as you said, it's not all smooth sailing. With this speed and integration comes friction. The sources definitely highlighted growing legal issues, ethical debates.
Yeah, development is really running headfirst into some big, complex questions. A huge one, mentioned repeatedly, is copyright. We're seeing major lawsuits, Disney, Universal, NBC Universal suing Midjourney.
What's the core argument there?
They're alleging Midjourney unlawfully used their copyrighted characters and content to train its AI. Basically, scrape their stuff to learn how to replicate their style or even specific characters, calling generative AI a plagiarism pit. It's a landmark case for AI and intellectual property.
And that's not the only big copyright fight.
No. Getty Images is suing Stability AI in London, too, over allegedly scraping millions of their copyrighted photos for training Stable Diffusion.
Yeah.
It really shows this escalating tension between the AI builders and the content creators whose work fuels these models. Big questions about fair use, ownership.
Yeah, huge questions. And beyond copyright, what about just the misuse of AI?
That's a massive concern, and the sources show companies trying to act. Meta, for instance, is suing developers of Nudify AI apps designed to create fake explicit images without consent, trying to combat that harmful use.
That's awful stuff.
It is. And on the cybercrime side, researchers flagged Nithion AI. It's a new AI tool being sold on hacker forums, specifically to help criminals carry out attacks more effectively. Shows how quickly bad actors are adopting this tech, too.
And the bias problem hasn't gone away either.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
A court allowed an age bias lawsuit against Workday to proceed. The claim is their AI hiring tools discriminate against older workers. It just highlights how AI trained on biased data can amplify those biases in the real world. And there's also the risk of automation bias, people trusting AI too much, even when it's wrong, a real concern in healthcare.
There were even some more fundamental safety questions raised by insiders.
Yeah, that was fascinating. An ex-OpenAI researcher apparently suggested that some experiments on older ChatGPT models hinted they might prioritize self-preservation over user safety in certain scenarios. Newer models supposedly have better checks, but it fuels that whole AI alignment debate. How do we make sure these powerful systems are actually safe and beneficial?
That's unsettling.
It is.
That's
And you see governments trying to figure out how to regulate this, like Senator Lummis's proposed bill in the U.S., trying to maybe shield AI firms from some lawsuits if they're transparent, aiming for that balance between innovation and accountability. It's tricky.
So all these lawsuits, misuse worries, ethical debates, why is this friction so important for you to track?
Because these conflicts are literally setting the rules for AI's future. How those copyright cases turn out. That affects everything about training data and creative rights, how we combat misuse and bias. That determines how safe and fair these tools will be. These aren't side issues. They're defining the guardrails, or the lack of them, for this entire field.
Okay, so finally, let's zoom out a bit. The competitive landscape. It's clearly a fierce race, right? How are the big players maneuvering?
Ooh, the rivalry is intense.
Yeah.
But right now, the data in these sources points to one clear frontrunner in terms of usage, OpenAI's ChatGPT. It apparently has something like 80% of the global AI market traffic.
80%, that's huge.
It is. 5.5 billion visits in May 2025 alone. Just dwarfs competitors like Gemini or Claude. It really shows that while tech specs matter, having a product that people find useful and easy to use is absolutely key for adoption.
But even being the leader doesn't mean no challenges, like keeping talent.
Right. Sources mentioned Meta is having trouble retaining top AI researchers despite pouring money in. In a field driven by brainpower, losing key people is a serious strategic challenge.
And OpenAI's speed is putting pressure even on giants like Apple.
Yeah, analysts reportedly downgraded Apple, citing OpenAI's rapid progress as a threat. As AI becomes more central, Apple's under pressure to show its own strategy can compete, especially in software and services.
Even OpenAI makes strategic adjustments, like delaying that open-weight model.
Exactly. They delayed releasing their open-weight AI model, the kind anyone could download and run. They cited breakthroughs, but also challenges. This happens while competitors like Meta, DeepSeek, xAI are pushing their own models. It just shows how dynamic this race is, how quickly plans can shift.
So why track this intense competition, these strategic chess moves?
Because that competition drives innovation, pushes everyone to build better, faster tools. But understanding the challenges, the talent wars, the market shifts, the delays helps you see who might be leading the pack tomorrow, which tools might become dominant. It affects what options are actually available and useful to you.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, what we've seen from these sources is, well, a field just absolutely exploding, fueled by almost unimaginable amounts of investment.
Yeah, hundreds of billions driving valuations sky high. And that money is directly powering incredible progress, from the basic chips right up to the AI models themselves, giving them capabilities that honestly felt like science fiction just a year or two ago.
And it's not just theoretical. This tech is moving fast into so many industries: healthcare, software, media, logistics, changing how things get done.
But, and it's a big but, that progress comes with serious friction. Huge legal fights over copyright, real worries about misuse and bias, and those deep, complex questions about safety and alignment that we're only just starting to grapple with.
Right. These sources really paint a picture of a field moving at lightning speed, where the tech, the money, and the societal challenges are all tangled up together, changing constantly. Hopefully, this gave you a clearer picture of the key threads in that tangle.
It's definitely a complex landscape. Exciting, but also, yeah, challenging.
Absolutely. Which brings us to our final thought for you listening right now. As AI keeps getting better at generating content, writing code, maybe even diagnosing illness, which single advancement or trend that we talked about today do you personally think will have the biggest impact on your life, work, or personal in the next year or so? And thinking about those challenges, what's the one guardrail, the one principle you think is most crucial to get right as this technology keeps evolving so quickly? Something to chew on.